Hello and welcome to another episode of the Morning Skate Podcast. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell to cover the January 18th NHL Daily Fantasy Slate. DJ, it's been a while. How you doing?
Pretty good. We finally have a big slate, 10 games, which is way more than normal. I know we missed the recent five-gamer. I was traveling back to school for my last semester ever. I mean, barring a catastrophe. Um, but the big news that broke today was the Washington Capitals jerseys, and I feel like I'm the only one that's not that upset about them. I mean, they're not the best. Like, they probably could have done better, but people are, like, really, really mad about them, and I don't think they're that ugly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much team like burn those things, like send them out on the river and just let them go. I
Hmm.
mean, Ovechkin just looks so sad wearing it.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, I
if
don't
that's
know.
what you want to lead the show with, like, yeah,
Well, I just
that's
think the Stadium Series jerseys are always supposed to be like updated, edgy kind of things. You know what I mean? Like, if you do like a Winter Classic, you do like a classic look. Like the Sabres went back to the old blue, and like the Stadium Series is like this is updated, new, like blah blah blah. And I mean, yeah, they're not perfect, but they're kind of like the caps looks kind of cool in the middle. The numbers on the back are pretty neat. But yeah, Ovi, I feel like Ovi looks like I'm not in the Olympics more than like I'm mad. But like, I guess it's the same base.
yeah. Well, I mean,
They look like
that's
Russia. They look like Russia. Maybe that's why he's kind of like thinking back to his homeland.
he misses his mama's homemade cooking, I guess.
Yeah, beats too.
DJ,
Okay.
putting it all together here.
What?
Maybe Wyshynski can write an article on that.
Yeah, probably will. um, all right. So let's get to what was the other thing we were going to talk about? I feel like I'm missing
Uh,
something. We said, oh, the big. So last year, everyone went crazy about how bye weeks and every team comes back so sluggish, and we have some teams coming back from a week long bye, and I'm kind of not buying the narrative as much as I think people will be on this slate. I think we have four or five teams, maybe six even, that are coming back from bye. What? I mean, I think we could name them. Uh, is it Columbus, Buffalo, Ottawa,
sounds right.
Tampa
Tampa.
Bay,
Yep.
and then
I think that's it.
that might be no. Is Boston?
No,
No,
Boston's playing right now.
Washington is.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are the teams that are coming back from bye, and like people are going to shy away from them. I think they're going to stack against them, and I'm not really buying the narrative as much. I think teams last year kind of they know like the media went off on how they came back sluggish. I think it might actually light a fire under their bellies to get going. Like they don't want to be that team that comes back from a week off and plays like crap. So we'll see what happens. I'm not really buying the narrative as strong. So none of my takes will be reflecting teams coming back from bye weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like so far they've done a pretty decent job
Yeah.
of getting teams coming off of buys against each other. So I think this slate's really like the first one where you have like a number of teams going against like teams that are kind of back in the flow of things. So yeah, because I'm just doing a quick Twitter search to make sure no one's put together that info, and there really hasn't been many games to this point where that's been the case. So all right, so yeah, I think that's enough intro to the slate. Like DJ said, we're looking at a 10-game slate here on Thursday. So we'll run through them real quick, wrap up with the top stacks, guaranteed goals, and head into a Thursday. So the 10 games we got are Washington at New Jersey, Boston at the Islanders, Toronto at Philly, Dallas at Columbus, Buffalo at the Rangers, St. Louis at Ottawa, Vegas at Tampa, Arizona at Nashville, San Jose at the Fighting Nathan McKinnon's, as in Colorado, and Pittsburgh at LA. Both Pittsburgh and Boston playing on road back to backs. Boston of the at home and then taking the road variety, and Pittsburgh of the true road back to back, having played in Anaheim on Wednesday night. So right off the top, we got two teams on a back to back. Like you said, a handful of teams coming off the bye. Anywhere jumping out to you immediately? I know I'm looking pretty hard at this Washington team, like you said. I mean, I even think New Jersey looks pretty decent too. And then obviously the Rangers going against Buffalo. But anywhere else jump out to you immediately?
I mean, those are the main ones. Uh, yeah, no, I think you kind of covered the main ones there. I don't mind St. Louis. Um, I don't know how in love with them I am yet, but I mean they're going into Ottawa. This is a road, not back to back, right? But they did play. They played in Toronto, so it's like 1 day rest in Canada. So it's not really travel too far. I think Ottawa's pretty bad.
Yeah, I want to
Um,
say they played in
I don't know. Their
played in
defense is just so bad without Carlson. So,
okay,
but Carlson's there. I'm saying like anyone besides Carlson.
right. So we have Vegas lines on, let's see, all but Washington, New Jersey, and Boston Islanders, presumably because one, New Jersey, we don't know if it's going to be Schneider or Kincaid, and then Boston on a back-to-back. I'm guessing they're just looking for injury news or something, which is interesting because Pittsburgh, LA's already posted. But anyways, every game is listed as a 5.5 over/under, except for Tampa Vegas, which is slightly on the 6 side right now. The under still favored there, but so that's just an early look at Vegas. Keep track of that throughout the day. Anything else before we start with Washington, New Jersey?
No, I think let's just get into it.
All right. I mean, so we have Ovechkin here, 7,700. His shot rate isn't as insane as it's been in, I mean, I guess years past. Like, he still leads the league by actually not a huge margin anymore because Jonathan Marchessault is like within fractions of a shot behind him on a rate basis. Um, but yeah, so I mean, there's Ovechkin, the number one guy. I'm looking pretty hard at Evgeny Kuznetsov though, especially in tournaments at 5,400. I'm just not sold that New Jersey's going to be able to contain, uh, going to be able to contain basically all six of the Washington's top six forwards. Like I think they're all really good. I think we're getting pretty decent prices here on the forward side. So like it's not pretty because as far as I know, Washington's lines are still staggered a little bit with Kuznetsov, Oshie, and Ovechkin all on separate lines. Um, but any thoughts on that end of the matchup before tackling this New Jersey side? That's kind of the same situation.
Um, on the Washington guys, you're saying. Sorry, I was actually trying to look up something. I mean, yeah, no, yeah, it's the top six though. But I think I want to wait to see what their lines are. I don't think we have any news on that yet. And like, if TJ Oshie gets a bump up to the top six, because I know the last game they played, he was on line 3 with like Brett Connolly and Lars Eller. He's 5,200, and he was still on that top unit if I recall correctly. So I think Oshie at that price is like almost a no brainer if he's playing with Kuznetsov, who's also pretty cheap. Um, but I mean, you said like the top six guys. It really is only like Ovi, Kuznetsov, and Backstrom. Like, I'm not. I mean, maybe Vrana. Like, that's someone I would consider, but I'm not stomaching Devontae Smith-Pelly or Tom Wilson. So,
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the first power play guys, and
yeah,
then so basically they're top six talent wise, not necessarily deployment wise. Um, it is worth noting that in two previous matchups this season, Ovechkin and Backstrom have combined for 16 shots on goal between the two of them over 2 games and 12 points. Backstrom putting up 7 points and Ovi 5. That's kind of crazy. I definitely did not expect to see that when I looked at their season splits. So I don't know. I guess keep an eye if that kind of gets traction around the daily fantasy industry because people love their small sample splits. They love their recency bias kind of things. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I
I feel
mean,
like overall I'm not that interested in this game. I mean, I don't know. Is that a crazy take?
uh,
First off, I feel like if you're gonna try to pay for John Carlson on the point, like you might as well try to find a way to get up to Burns. I mean, it's really not what is it 7-2 compared to 6-4 on DraftKings. Like I feel like you try to find that. You probably can. So I'm not really interested in any of the other defensemen. I mean, Orlov is kind of always sort of interesting, but I don't think this game is going to have the pace that it's going to be okay. But New Jersey, I feel like it's come back down to earth as far as their pace. Um, I don't know. I'm like okay on it. I'm not sure
yeah,
how
I
bullish
mean,
I am.
I'm always buying Ovechkin when
Yeah,
he's
like
still
Ovechkin's fine. Like
like I just I just think it's kind of crazy that you would consider playing maybe not Tarasenko, but someone like
mhm,
Marchand on a back to back, or even Taylor Hall on the other end.
yeah,
Yes, there is GPP merit to them, but I just don't see myself like looking at that and saying like, yeah, I'm okay saving $500 to go to Hall or Kessel or Jamie Benn or something like that. Like
I agree with
it's
that.
just Alex Ovechkin. You can put him in the bank almost. So that's kind of where I'm at on this game.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with the just the
Yeah,
OV part of it, but I'm not definitely not trying to stack this game up. And I mean, if I had any exposure to New Jersey, it probably would be through Hall. So
yeah,
I don't know, but like
I'm
then again,
kind
to your
of on
point, it's kind of
I'm on the Palmieri side there,
yeah,
even though he's playing like third line for them, which
yeah.
is
His minutes just keep going
actually,
down, but
whoa,
he's
wait a
on
second.
the
He got pulled off the first power play, yet still
he's on the
scored.
second power
Okay.
play score. Yeah, no, I literally played Palmieri and Hall thinking like, yes, I'll get the power play
Yeah.
correlation and like cross lines, and they both scored. And I was like, oh god, like
Yeah,
that's
they both
nice.
smashed.
But like they didn't play together at all, so it was weird. I was like, oh, never mind. Still, it worked. My strategy worked, kind of. No, I
Yeah,
don't mind
okay.
Palmieri, but I'm kind of more on the
So yeah,
OV
no,
only, maybe Oshie side of this. If I was gonna say who I was gonna play,
yeah, I don't I feel like Washington's one of those teams that's always ripe for some pretty fun games going back and forth. So uh
fine.
yeah, so what? They replaced Palmieri with Zajac on the first unit. I guess
Yep.
that's not very newsworthy.
Yeah, he
Um,
doesn't shoot really.
yeah, neither does Jesper Bratt either. So
Not really. No, he had that
that's
one game against Buffalo where I was at the game and I played him, and Jesper Bratt was like, I think he had a hat trick. I'm pretty sure.
mhm.
It was like super fun to be like, yeah, I played him, but also really sad to like watch it against your team. That was back when I thought the Sabres were okay.
Yeah, but okay.
For minutes.
So Will Butcher, I mean, just I
Yeah, that's
can't.
the noise.
No, you probably
No,
just shouldn't.
no, I wouldn't.
Really, yeah. I mean, I guess you're right. I think it's Taylor Hall or bust, but I just don't really see that price being
Yeah, that's the
like
problem is the price. But other
totally
than that,
reflective of his daily fantasy like output. But I mean, he does have 45 shots over the last 10 games with 14
yeah.
points, so
And they're like
certainly
all on net. Like
it's
I would say the majority of his shots are getting on net.
no, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, yeah, 45 shots on goal. That's the stat. But okay.
Oh, is that what you said?
Yeah, no,
I thought you said his attempts.
oh no. I can look that
Whoops.
up real quickly.
Okay.
Let's see. On a per game basis over the last 10 days, so 3 games, he has 7.3 shot attempts per game. It's one of the better marks in the league. I mean, I think you should expect that out of him. But anyways, um, yeah, I think a pretty deep dive into their first power play. Uh, really not much to love there. So maybe a one-off stack like that does make sense. Let's move to Boston at the Islanders.
Hmm?
Boston on a back-to-back. That's a little bit scary. I feel like especially this Pasternak, Marchand, Bergeron line is going to be popular despite the back-to-back, just because the
Mhm.
Islanders have been so incredibly bad
Mhm.
on defense. Um, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, we were talking about the Islanders as like a team to target for like a good couple months, and then it felt like the past 2 weeks like they just completely cratered.
Yeah, their
So
defense is not very good. I mean, I kind of always have been on the. I'm not sure about their defense, but I didn't think it was like that bad. But now I'm kind of like, man, you're giving Scotty Mayfield 21 minutes, and I'm not positive on that. And then the other Sebastian Aho, and I mean Dennis Seidenberg is really bad. But they've been playing seven. They played 7 defense last game and 11 forwards, so that's kind of exciting. And Michael Del Cole, was that his first game of the season?
yes, he played it a
Was it?
couple or two.
No, I was just. I don't think
Okay,
they played this season though, because I feel like,
yeah, he's played 3 games this year.
oh man, I feel like it must have. I feel like I did notice that once actually. Now that you
Yeah, no,
said that,
he got called up. He's playing second power play, doing some fun stuff. So I
yeah,
mean, there's definitely value here if that's what you're looking for.
yeah. But there's definitely their second power play is literally. I mean, I bet if you said all 5 of them together,
Yeah,
it would be like
it basically
10K.
costs. Yeah,
Like it's
like
not even that's not even an exaggeration.
no, it's certainly not.
Yeah, I mean, out of all of the players on the Islanders, I don't think it'd be absurd to play Barzell or anyone like that for sure. Barzell's going to get huge minutes with a huge upside. But my question is Barzell worth the price? He's climbing up to 6'2". I mean,
Man,
it's not absurd, I would
all
say,
right.
but it's not great.
Yeah, it's just really tough to do what he does from a daily fantasy perspective and pay off a $6,000 salary.
Yeah, that's my
So,
thought. I don't know if he's worth the price, but then is there anyone else?
I mean, I think Eberle makes a little bit of sense here. Um, he's had a rather disappointing last couple months in terms of shot rate. Um, but I mean, he's going to be relied upon pretty heavily. He's gotten that boost to the first power play with no Josh Bailey in the lineup. He's almost certainly not playing on Thursday. So I think you could get away with some like Jordan Eberle for a decent mid-range price tag. I'll be interested to see how the lines shake out. Like you mentioned, they
Mhm.
ran 11-7 last game, so that could be a value spot. Um, but I still think for me, this Boston side is
Yeah, it's definitely
they're a tough fade because I mean, as
that.
much as it's difficult playing teams on a back to back, like David Pasternak at 6.5, like you just feel better about playing that full line when you're getting all of them at rather reasonable prices. I mean, there's certainly an argument to be made that they're the top stack pound for pound here. Maybe not value wise, but just
I
overall.
don't think they're
So,
that heavy. Um, no, I totally agree. But let's just look beyond that first line. Is there anyone else? I mean, you on the top power play, Dalton Heinen again was with Bergeron, Pasta, Marchand, Krug. Although there's a lot of different correlations. I mean, it looks like they had a fair amount of power play time against Dallas. Does he pique your interest at 4.9? He doesn't shoot the puck
uh,
a ton. That's my issue
no,
with him. But
no, he
just straight up, no. Okay, that's fair enough.
Boston's been really good. So I feel like you're pretty much maxing out on like their upside. Like you're paying for them at maybe the pinnacle of their prices this season, and those are places, especially I mean the depth guys, because I think Pasternak is 6.5 certainly has room to increase. Um, but like all of these other guys are just kind of like man, like why are you spending this much on a player like him? So
Mm.
um, yeah, I mean, because like I was looking at David Backes because that third line for Boston's been like a really good possession line and everything, but it's just there's no way you're spending 5,000 on David Backes given the fact that he doesn't correlate at all to anyone else. So unless you're in deep, 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 deep tournaments, I'm pretty much staying away from Boston outside the first line.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Just wanted to know your take. What about defense? McAvoy or Krug or
No,
neither? Or okay, that's fine.
nah, I'm just passing. I mean, McAvoy's outstanding, but he's just not a fantasy guy, um, or a daily fantasy guy, I should say. And Krug is just a little bit too expensive for my liking. He gets in these grooves kind of where he's just dominating the power play and taking a bunch of shots from the point. This is not one of those runs that he's in, so I'll wait to see a little bit more life from him at a lower price tag before I start jamming him in.
All right, that's fine. You want to move on to Toronto, Philly?
Yeah, I would expect the sim is absolutely going to be fawning over Philadelphia, and
I like
I
that
mean,
alliteration.
yeah, fawning over Philadelphia.
I'm down
So
with that.
Claude Giroux is in one of those situations where he is 6,700 and he is averaging 4.5 fantasy points per game over his last 10 with while shooting 4%. Like that just those sort of stats just boggle the mind. Like
Hmm.
I just don't even see how that's physically possible.
You know
Um,
what? Wait, can I say something really quick? I don't want to completely cut you
yeah, no,
off,
go
but
for it.
it's amazing how Giroux and Voracek have so many assists, and it's like, who's scoring all these goals? You know what I mean? Kind of because like,
uh, Mr. Sean Couturier
yeah,
is
I mean
scoring
that's the
all of the
guy.
goals.
I know that, but like, isn't it seem like that's never like it's not at all what I expected.
No, of course not. I mean, you look
Man,
at
it's so
Voracek, and
weird.
yeah, no, it's actually kind of impressive if you
When
ask
Philly
me.
went on that huge losing streak and then that big winning streak, I was just like, what is this team? Like, what do they want to do? Are they good? Are they bad? I think I had them just missing the playoffs, and now I'm like, I kind of like them a lot. Is that okay?
I think so. I think especially for fantasy purposes, you can love Philadelphia because they are so consistent with what they do on a night-to-night basis. Like they are going to give you all you can handle of Couturier, Giroux, Voracek. Yeah, Konechny will be on that first line more than likely, but if it's coming off of a commercial break or on the power play, like all three of their big guns are going to combine for like a serious amount of ice time. Wayne Simmons is like the ideal net front guy. I think that kind of limits his floor for daily fantasy, but in terms of upside, I mean, he's more, he's just as likely as any of the big guns to have like a 2 goal night. And then Shane Gostisbehere, if he's going to be playing 20 plus minutes a night for this team, I don't see any reason that he won't at least be expected to pay off his 5.5 price tag against the Toronto team that I love to target defensemen against. So,
Yeah.
I think loving Philly certainly makes a lot of sense here, especially because they have a decent amount of value and they just have the big guns who get the job done on a night to night basis.
Yeah, I think you're really going to be in between the Philly stack of. I mean, the thing is, you could go. The question is, do you want to go Drew or Voracek? I mean, you said that stuff about Drew at the top, but I just feel like Voracek's more a consistent shooter. Although, I don't know. I really don't know what Voracek is. He's another one of those guys where I'm just like, I feel like I mentioned all the time, a huge question mark. And then you have Drew. I definitely want to have some Gostisbehere in my life. I mean, that's going to happen. I can nearly lock that in right now.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with this slate is I feel like I want to spend up on defense, but I really like Boston 1 and Philadelphia 1 and Voracek. So it's really tough.
Yeah, so let's move on and keep digging. I mean, I think we're gonna find a lot of value here.
If you want to look at Philadelphia power play 2, you have Jordan Wheel, Brendan Manning, right?
Or Brandon Manning, but
Brandon Manning, yeah. And then Provorov, who I don't have as much interest in as Gostisbehere, and Gostisbehere's only 300 more. Yori Lathera, who I'm definitely not going to play, definitely, and then Nolan Patrick. So that third line for Philly has Patrick and Wheel, and then Simmons. I don't know. I feel like Nolan Patrick, he's just been like one of those guys that doesn't really shoot all year. He only has 40 shots on goal all season. Yeah,
well,
he's going to get the minutes. Who are you looking at here? Is there somebody in particular?
I mean, quick complaint. Like, well, I was thinking that like per like points per dollar, I think like Gostisbehere and Voracek are both like supreme values.
Yeah.
Like
those two are like those two are a great stack. But dude,
but no, like the problem here is that imagine having a hockey team and like, coaching a hockey team and watching Travis Konecny play, thinking that he's playing well enough to be on the first line with the cornerstone of your franchise, Claude Giroux and Sean Couturier, and then saying, you just can't trust him enough on that power play. So we're going to play Yori freaking Laterra over Travis Konecny.
You said like, neither power play. It's really
like, just imagine how terrible a coach you must be to think that. And that's the Dave Maxwell story.
Yeah, I don't think he lasts the rest of the season. But when they get hot like this, it's like you can't fire the guy now. Okay, so I think a stack that I will definitely roll out in GPPs. I'm probably gonna have a couple lineups tomorrow at this point. The way I'm already looking at it, Couturier, Voracek, and Gostisbehere, and then I also just have Gostisbehere and Voracek. But this Couturier kid, he's pretty good. I mean, yeah. I think last year we touted him quite a bit because he was pretty cheap, and he never really came up as like this is the guy. And then this year, it's like we were right.
Yeah, I mean, he just.
I'm gonna say that, and no one's gonna argue because no one's gonna go back and look.
Like he was so outstanding in his lower level role for them that I mean, it was just like the one thing that Hackstall did right is I don't know if Giroux requested it or if he just like mentioned it, but having Giroux move to winger has just it's done so much for that line, especially in terms of like Couturier's development. Like no longer did he have to just solely be a defensive guy, but he could like actually like use his immense talent because his shot metrics are incredible. Like so putting him with an offensive guy like Giroux just really worked out for them. So it's nice to see that. At risk of going way too long on the first few games, like we always do.
We always do it.
Yep, the Toronto side. I mean, it just again, it feels like they're just overpriced for what they're doing. Like they're not they're a fast team. Like they're a fun team to watch, but like in terms of daily fantasy, like they just don't really do. Like, they're not. I don't know. They're just not consistent enough for their prices. Like Willie Nylander at 6,000, like it just makes me uneasy. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you see anyone here that you are like relatively interested in on the Toronto side, or are you just kind of like doing what we kind of do and just fade them and hope that it doesn't burn us?
Yeah, no, I think I'm on the fade him. I hope it doesn't burn us train again. And like, I don't mind ever targeting Philly. Like, I think if you want to play Austin Matthews, like you can do it, but like, good freaking luck trying to get some of these top stacks in with Austin Matthews, and I just don't really think he's stackable. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
you could do the Nylander thing like that. That'll work once every 8 or 9 games, but it's not my favorite. So Nylander's role is kind of random at times. I don't think he's like the most overpriced guy on the slate. I don't think he's the worst play on the slate. That'd be the only area to consider, but I don't think it has that GPP explosiveness that the other stacks we mentioned are at a comparable price. So, I mean, I always like JVR, another guy that I always like. He's fine as like a one-off kind of guy. I mean, he has huge shot numbers over the past few games. Decent one-off, going back to his old Flyers team if you like narratives as well. So him as a one-off, one that Matt got right on the Puck Soup podcast. Any of our also Puck Soup listeners that listen to Matt. The thing is like, Matt, you think you got embarrassed. I think you did very well on the game show. Comparatively to the guy that literally is like 45 or 50 and knew every single Flyers player because like he lives in Philly his whole life. And,
grew up a Flyers fan, yeah.
And they're like, yeah, the team from the people that don't know, Puck Soup, they live shows, they do a game show where they pick a team and you have to like list off as many from the roster. So like Matt went, then another guy went, then Matt went, then the other guy went. And like they went back and forth for a while on one of them. And then the second team was what, the 97, 98 Flyers or 98?
96, 97.
96, 97 Flyers, and Matt was one. So the other guy was like probably 17, like in this kind of this hockey fandom.
He was probably older than 17.
I mean, the thing is that you should have said Lindros first. And I'm not mad you said Roenick because he probably would have been my like third guy.
Yeah, no,
I would have gone Lindros. The other guy had you no matter what, though. He knew like the whole team. He literally rattled like 3 names. Like, oh boy. So if you want to listen to that, go to Puck Soup and then on whatever outlet you use for listening to the podcast, and go to the Philly live show, and it's right near the end.
Yeah, so it's like one of the last things they do. So, but yeah, I mean, it was definitely fun. JVR was on that team that went to the Cup final, or went to the Cup final. So that was like something I just pulled right out of left field, which was kind of fun. But anyways, he and Austin Matthews, I mean, they're both the Leafs leaders in iCourtsy per 60. Mitch Marner is actually like a hair behind Austin Matthews on a per minute basis. Unfortunately, Marner really only plays 16 minutes a night. So until that changes, I'm not all that interested for daily fantasy purposes. All right, Dallas Columbus. Tyler Seguin did ridiculous Tyler Seguin things. Personally, I think it kind of got overblown because the clip that went around Twitter was him like deking basically 3 guys and then scoring a goal. However, it was at the end of like a 2-minute shift where some other Stars guys pinned him in the zone. Seguin came on the ice for a delayed penalty. So it was literally a 4-on-3 power play against guys that were dog tired. So like obviously
don't take away from Seguin magic, okay?
Look, I'm not going to take anything away from Tyler Seguin because he is magical. But like that specific play was just kind of like like I've seen him do much cooler things that didn't go viral.
I just can't believe how much his price came down from the last couple of games. Like, you went down 600 from last game to this game. And, like, Columbus is pretty banged up. And, I mean, besides one pair in their defense, like, I'm not that impressed.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with Columbus is that, like, they just – I mean, it's kind of almost a cliche, I feel like, to me, because I say it all the time, but they really don't take a lot of penalties. Like –
yeah, I'm fine with that take.
I don't know. So Seguin especially does a lot of his damage on the power play because his shot is so lethal. And as of right now, it looks like he will be skating alongside Jamie Benn and Alex Radulov. So if you stack them, you're really looking for power play upside, I think, because the chances of them getting 3 even strength goals are, I think, pretty slim. I think that's a fair assessment to make. So yeah, I'm kind of out.
I'm okay with like a pretty much fade on this game. I'm not mad about that call. I like how I would have described this game originally as like, it isn't my favorite, but I think there's some value to be had. Like, there's some players that I don't think are terrible plays. Like, I don't mind looking at that second line for Columbus, which has Jenner and Bjorkstrand, right? Yes, Jenner
Yes.
Bjorkstrand.
Yeah,
Um,
with
those
Wenberg.
two, and with Wemberg, and Wemberg's not a huge shooter at all,
Nope.
and I do think Jenner, at least it's over the past few games, has kind of come back to shooting the puck a lot. So I don't hate that look.
Yeah, you read my mind. That's what
Okay,
I
so
was going to talk about.
I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, even Bjorkstrand, I think, is a little bit overpriced. Like, he's not really. He is immensely talented, but I think for cash purposes, you're definitely looking towards Boone Jenner. Um, that said, I do really, really like Boone Jenner and Bjorkstrand as a value combo here, with Wenberg feeding them and some really good defensemen on Columbus and Werenski and Jones. They should be on the ice with a decent amount. Like, they should have the puck on their sticks, and they've both shown a desire to shoot it on net. So that's really what you're looking for. The prices make sense. The matchup is it's good. It's not great because Dallas has reined it in a little bit, but
Yeah, I agree.
I have faith in Columbus kind of righting the ship a little bit because they've been shaky their last little bit. So
Yeah, like I said to Matt before the podcast, like their power play couldn't get any worse. So, like Edmonton's penalty kill, really, I mean, in theory, it could get worse, but it shouldn't ever. Like, and their power play has to get better for Columbus. So, I think it's fine if you want to try to get back in on that power play one. I don't think I'll have Seth Jones. He's just he's 100 less than Erik Karlsson, and I know Erik Karlsson's matchup's bad, but like, come on, it's Erik Karlsson. So,
yeah.
and then. Werenski is interesting, but again, like I think I'm going to probably be looking at Gostisbehere over Werenski, but I do think that's pretty comparable, those two, like as far as like who I'm more interested in. But we can move on to the next game.
Buffalo.
This game's not my favorite.
Okay, Buffalo at the Rangers. Last game, the Rangers rolled out a new fun little line of Zibanejad, Rick Nash, and Pavel Buchnevich.
It did well.
I mean, Rick Nash did very well. They all, I think even better, they all played on the first power play together. And you kind of look at Buchnevich's minutes and you say like, it's still 15 minutes. Like, yeah, but they were up 5-1. Like, they were up big pretty early in that game. I think second period, middle of the second on, it was 4-1. So they really, really, really had the opportunity to just roll their lines. I think if this game's any closer, Buchnevich should keep his role and could crack the 17, 18-minute mark against a Sabres team that like we know is not good. So like you see his price tag, you see his game logs, and you get a little bit concerned. But there's just a reason that he's like not 6,000, and it's that his shot rate isn't high, but 4,400 for a guy as talented as he is and as impactful. I think that's an outstanding stack. And I think Rick Nash and Buchnevich are definitely two of the top cash options here, along with Zibanejad at center, obviously.
Well, I think you look at his game log and you should just throw it away because he was on line 4 for a good majority of that like game log you see on DraftKings. So there's really no point. You should look at right now with him. You should look at the balance sheet, not the income statement, for my business friends out there.
Wow.
Right? That was pretty good, right? I'm not mad about that. No, seriously though, like this guy is like he's now on line 1 going against a abysmal team that gives up a plethora of shots. And I mean, if Lehner's in net, Lehner's been pretty shaky as of late. So I'm not that interested. The Sabres are bad. If any team's going to come back sluggish after a break, it'll be them because they're terrible. So yeah, wait, is there anyone else on the Ranger side? Because the Sabre side is really easy to cover. Anyone else you want to mention?
What about Shattenkirk? Hold on. Yeah, I just wanted to mention, looking at the iCourse per 60, which obviously I love to do, this season, the leaders on the New York Rangers are Rick Nash and Buchnevich. They're all above 15, which is like I consider the range of 14 to about 17 to be like a good iCourse per 60 number. And so with all three of these guys like having strong shot rates, like, yes, I don't think Rick Nash is going to have 9 shots on goal again or whatever he had the other night. But I also think that they're all good for 3 to 4 shots as a projection. And if you give Buchnevich, 4 shots plus his assist equity, like I think that makes a like a ton of sense for against the Sabres. So I just wanted to double stress that.
That's
Um,
fine.
I like where you were going with the Shattenkirk thing.
Yeah, I do think that this is a great case for positive regression for a guy. I think I know this year a lot of people have kind of been down on him as like maybe he's not as good as everyone thought, and like I don't know if anyone ever thought he was like the next coming of Jesus on the point. It was more of like this guy can really play the power play well, and if he's with Buchnevich, Zuccarello, Zibanejad, and Nash, like that is a stacked power play one. His shot volume hasn't been the best of all time. It's been pretty decent. His block shots are there. I think this is a good chance for him to really bounce back though and get that first goal. I think in over a month. I'm pretty sure that was the set. I saw that he hasn't scored in a while. So I think he's like just a great case for positive regression. I mean, the numbers as of late haven't looked good, but I think he's a lot better than those numbers. And
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just want to I guess mention a quick little something for with regards to Shattenkirk. Like you look at his historical production, and it's almost all been because his power play numbers have just been outstanding. He's been like just a great points per 60 guy on the power play. So, it is kind of discouraging when you see that he's not at the same lofty mark that he was, I guess during his St. Louis days, really, when he was like up there with Ovechkin in terms of power play points per 60. But his shooting percentage on the power play is literally as low it has ever been in his career.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always something that yeah, the assists have kind of been there for him. But I think he'll start scoring goals on this power play because his shot rate isn't necessarily down. Like to wit, he had 69 shot attempts, nice, in 61 games with the Blues last year before he was traded. He also has 69 shot attempts this season with the Rangers in only 45 games. So he's shooting more, but he just isn't. He's simply not scoring as often. So I really like him for what you said, a positive regression candidate who stacks well with this first line of Zibanejad, Nash, and Buchnevich.
Yeah, definitely. So just quick Sabres. I mean, if you're gonna play them, you're playing Eichel and you're playing Kane or one or the other. I can't imagine playing anyone else.
Probably just Eichel.
It's probably just Eichel. Like Eichel is really, 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 really good and like not overpriced. And the Rangers defense, I mean, for what we said about Shattenkirk, I mean it's bad. I mean it's other than that. And the thing is like they're giving Nick Holden 22 minutes. I mean, it's not good. So I don't know if I'd say like let's full on game stack this, but I don't mind at all going with a little bit of MYR1 and Jack Eichel on the other side.
Yeah,
so
I'm in
that's
for
my
that.
thought. That's my thought on this game. If you play multiple lineups, I definitely would throw that in once or twice. But do you just want to move on to St. Louis? I mean, if you're feeling frisky, do you want to throw? I mean, do you want to go on to St. Louis, Ottawa now?
Yeah. I just games that involve Ottawa, they always call out to me. Just because I mean Ottawa's had a week off. DraftKings kind of sat down in their command center. I kind of imagine it like in the movies when you see the spaceships launch, and they go, "All right, guys, we got this week to deal with Mike Hoffman's price. He worked his way up from the low fives to the mid fives last week. What should we do?" And someone's like, "Sir, I think we should raise his price to a reasonable standard." And he goes, "Blasphemy. Make him 5,400." And that is the legend of how Mike Hoffman is, again, low 5,000s on a daily fantasy NHL slate.
That's literally it, you think?
Yeah, I mean,
that makes logical sense.
Yeah, you'll be telling your grandkids about the time when you got the roster like one of the best shooters in the NHL for 5,400 against a banged up St. Louis team. That I mean, yeah, I love them. I think they're really good defensively. But yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, date them with Mike Hoffman, right?
Okay, so this game, I feel like this game is like overall, I'm kind of interested in it. But where are you? Like, what's your first thought? Are you going back to Stastny Tarasenko? You think?
I really do. Dollar for dollar, even though he's 5,700, I really do like Paul Stastny. Like, there's not a ton of mid-range centers that really jump out at me here. So I think when you compare Stastny's, overall profile to the guys around him, I think he actually does make a lot of sense. Tarasenko is obviously a tough ask, as Wing is exceptionally loaded, and you have Ovechkin kind of staring at you right there. But some people will probably shy away from him because he had a down game last game, and we know how that works in daily fantasy. So I think you can go back to him, but first and foremost, I think I'm looking at Hoffman, and then secondary, I'll be interested to see what they do with Vince Dunn. I feel like we should take our victory lap for that just outstanding performance Dunn had against Toronto on Tuesday. Like, comes off of a healthy scratch and the bye week, obviously, goes out there, puts 7 shots on goal, and scores just an outstanding overtime winner. Just like that was pretty awesome. So props if you saw his AHL numbers, saw that Jay Bomeister was out, leaving a top 4 spot open, and then just like jammed in the guy with the most talent you could find for 2,900 because it paid off. So see what he's playing next game. I probably wouldn't be surprised to see him play 15 minutes again. But he was out there for the 6-on-5, so they could be doing something crazy with him. And as I've said many times before, his AHL shot numbers for a 19-year-old were freaking incredible last year.
Pretty good.
So he's kind of a guy, like, I see power play 1 in his future, even if it's not like, on a Alex Pietrangelo led team. I feel like it makes a lot of sense for him to be a guy that you at least keep on your radar going forward. So 3,100 for Vince Dunn is one of the better values, pound for pound, I think. And why I'm saying pound for pound a lot here. Can you diagnose that, doctor?
Why are you saying that?
Yeah.
Did you go to the deli today and like they were like, yeah, how many pounds do you want? And you're like, pound for pound, I'll go turkey. Like I don't know.
I appreciate your effort.
After the podcast. I think you pretty much covered the entire game. I really don't have much else to say. I'm skeptical of going with some of these cheaper guys for St. Louis. I mean, Berglund, Thompson are like line 3, power play 2, and they're really not quite getting they're both getting like 14 minutes apiece last game. They're really kind of hovering around that range. It's super, super cheap for getting like that kind of correlation, but it's kind of too risky for me, I think. I think if you like have like a lineup you're absolutely in love with and you wanted like a really highly correlated stack that's super cheap, it's like 6,600 combined for the two of them. That's like really dumpster diving though, in my opinion, but it's there. And then one defenseman I don't think you mentioned, Joel Edmonton. He's 4K, which is like come on, like you're kind of like really pushing me to try to get that, but I think he's a decent floor guy. 26 minutes last game with Bomeister out. I think he'd probably keep that and power play 2. Other than that,
he lost his power play 2 job to Vince Dunn because Dunn was going nuts. So
okay,
that's my only you're kind of buying high on Edmondson because
that's how I feel too. Like that's why it's like it's a little bit high. Okay,
he's not a great player, but certainly has been getting the job done. But I think 4,000 is a time to stay away. While we're at it, let's just talk about these other Ottawa guys because I love Hoffman. Carlson obviously makes sense anytime. Mark Stone is 5,700, averaging 4.5 DraftKings points over his last 10 games. He's playing a ton of minutes. He's playing first power play. Like there you go for that. And then Matt Duchene. Yeah, he's actually like really good. Matt Duchene is 4,200, centering Mike Hoffman at 5-on-5. Has blocked 10 shots over his last 10 games and 7 over his last 4. So like he's really actually getting it done in all the categories for you right now. And like, yeah, this is as cheap as you're ever going to see a guy who's as talented as Duchene is with the role that he has. So 4,200 for Duchene, I think he pairs well with Hoffman.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Is there anyone else before we move on? I feel like
no. I said pretty much everyone, but I'm a value guy.
We really almost had everyone in the entire game. I feel.
Yeah, I search for the value. The guys who are too cheap for their roles, and I jam them in until their price matches their roles, or they suck so much that they quit jumping out to me. And certainly works both ways. All right, Vegas, Tampa. You were on the UC Saros train on Tuesday. Are you looking at Oh,
Nashville. Wait, what do you
well,
mean?
yeah. I mean, I'm just
Oh,
saying,
that's
like,
last.
you were targeting Vegas pretty hard
Oh,
there.
haha. I mean, not really, but I mean, at 8K, it's like maybe. Um, I don't know. I don't really like to think that a team's going to get shut up back to back nights unless it was the Buffalo Sabres. So I don't think I'm going to be playing Vasilevsky. No. Was that your question?
I think more in general, like, are you shying away from the Vegas side in a six over under game? That I mean, certainly could have guys like flocking to, or players flocking to uh the Vegas side of this game, essentially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, are you saying that because Victor Hedman's out?
If, I mean that, just the fact that I think Vegas is showing that they're a pretty good team. Uh, Basically, are
Yeah,
you going to
I'm
play
okay.
Vegas, DJ?
I'm probably not going to have much of Vegas. No. I mean,
Okay.
I don't mind Marchigo, but he's really, really expensive. I mean, he had 10 shots on goal against Nashville without one going in. So I get it. Um, I don't mind him, but he's so expensive. And then other than that, I feel like you're really kind of going to have to take a bit of a dip to get someone that you like. I don't mind Tuck. He's the one guy that I kind of always come back to. And I don't
Yeah.
mind um, Colin Miller because he's pretty good, or Theo Goat because he's also pretty good. But other than that, I just have a tough time rostering any of these other guys. Like
Yeah,
I
no,
think,
I
like
was.
how can you put Marchessault in over these Philly guys? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean I think that's a very reasonable question. I'm not sure if you caught it when I was looking at this season's shots per 60 table, but obviously Ovechkin's leading the league. Marchessault's in second. Like he is legitimately like one of the best shooters in the NHL right now. So that I mean it it feels wrong. I'm probably not going to do it for 6,800, but I do think there is a mathematical case you can make for March or so. But I was going to try and steer you towards the Alex Tuck, um, and then also I do like Colin Miller as well. Like he's out there. Again, this is kind of like, yeah, I watched a coach put a guy out there in the last couple minutes of a game, but Colin Miller was also out there in the 6-on-5 situation. He's certainly the guy they're trying to get the puck to when they have him out on the ice on a basically a man advantage, and he's gonna shoot the puck a lot. So 3,700 playing 20 minutes, I think Colin Miller is a really really strong play.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm fine with that take.
and yeah,
Is there? And then I feel like Tampa Bay. It's almost like what's is even worth talking about? Like, is there any cheap
no,
guy? I mean, we don't really know. The
it's
only thing we could say is their defense. There could be something there, and it could be
yes, there
Sergachev
could,
should be on the top unit. I mean
yeah, it
that
could be the Sergachev
it
explosion, but I
could
mean,
be Sergachev night. I think it could be a three defenseman night.
for me, it almost always is. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I really think that's very warranted tomorrow. The three defensemen,
Yeah.
and Sergachev could be the guy. I do want to see because I bet we'll know, but it's either him or it's going to be like
Oh, we know it's Sergachev. He was there last game because Hedman went out pretty early in that one, and
yeah.
it was Sergachev.
But they haven't played in a while, right? They're coming back from a bye, so
Yeah,
things could
yeah.
have changed. It's kind of doubtful. Sergachev did play it last time. Palat Point, Kucherov, Stamkos. So they didn't even have Nemestikov was
Nemestikov.
online too,
Yeah,
and he didn't play. So Nemestikov's probably pretty much out. They had Kunitz on line one. Like I'm saying, like these things could all change though because they haven't played in a week.
yeah. I think the
I
forwards could
think it's gonna
change.
be
I don't see Sergachev's role as their power play one guy changing though. So I
no
would
me
be
neither.
literally shocked if that happened.
Dachin was on the ice like the whole game. I do remember loving him in the past, but I'm not. I mean, he had 7 shots on goal the entire season.
Yeah,
No,
Dodge. I
no,
mean,
in the last 10. I mean,
no,
oh my
but
god, what am I saying? 35 in the year.
yeah,
Go on now.
I don't know. I think he's decent enough.
He's a value
I
guy. I mean, he's a
I just
lot.
want to see what their top four looks like before I make any decisions like that because it certainly doesn't have to be Dotchin. I don't think like they could just say Coburn, Suster, Sergachev, Strawman, and then throw Dotchin with someone like what is Cuckoo still there? Like I don't even know who their seventh guy is at this
He
point. But
he there was a thing about him. I think he was up with the team again.
okay,
So, like, maybe could be a scratch. Who knows?
so
But they
yeah,
did go 6 and 12. Well, 5. I think they ended up only playing 5 defensemen because they started
th-
with 6.
Yeah, that's why it kind of looks like everyone played a ton of
A ton.
minutes because Hedman
Exactly.
only played 11. But again, I could see Cuckoo coming in and playing 11 minutes, and basically whoever plays with him gets the short straw, and everyone else is really really solid from a daily fantasy perspective, in my opinion. Um, I mean, it's been a solid couple months since I've played Stamkos Kucherov together. I think I don't plan on going back there at this moment. So, maybe if you're feeling like getting some value in there with Sergachev and Kunitz, you can play them with the two to really make them worth your while. But I certainly don't see myself doing that personally. But all right, let's move on. Tackle Nashville at Arizona. Nashville has a lot of guys injured right now. So what were you saying? You were saying Johansson will
I
play.
still have them up. Want me to read the
Okay,
lines?
go for it.
Well, it was Fiala, Johansson, and then they had Jan and Aberg, like both there throughout the time. So I'm guessing it's
Okay.
Jan Hartnell, Torres, Smith, Torres. I don't know why I said it weird. Solomaki, Bonino, Sissons, McLeod, Gaudreau, Frederick Gaudreau, not Johnny. Don't think he got traded, and then Watson. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, if that's the case, like I don't hate Fiala. I feel like he'll probably be the main shot producer on that first line, and then Smith, I think, is still in play, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I really do like Smith and Fiala, but they're 5,600 and 5,800. Like, that's the thing that just, like, I don't know. I feel like some people might hear me talk about the same guys over and over again and just go, like, Mike Hoffman, like, he's not getting it done. What's going on? But, like, I am just such a proponent of these long term factors that, like, I think Fiala certainly has some merit to him, just given his AHL numbers and his overall pedigree as like a sniper and a scorer and a strong shot rate guy. But like Craig Smith, like yeah, he got really hot, but I don't think he's that good, like to warrant that price tag. Um, like it's tough because like Colton Sissons was their leading time on ice guy last game, like 3,500. Like oh cool, like that's it's interesting. Where'd you say he slotted in their lineup? Second line, right?
Sissons was third, which is weird because
Okay.
he led their team in minutes last game. I think just minutes in general.
Okay.
Let me pull that back up. So yeah, Sissons was on the second power play unit with Torres, Fiala, Ellis, and Yossi, and he led the team in total minutes.
I would almost consider that their first power play unit, but I mean,
I mean, it
whatever.
really is kind of like because Subban and Johansson were on the other one. That's why I think like, but and Smith. So like, it's kind of they're 1A, 1B. I mean, it looks like they play in almost
Right.
identical minutes.
Yeah.
They definitely try to keep them both fresh. So why don't we just say that?
Like, okay, let me just say this.
Overall,
You can
not
look at those lines CJ listed. If you like Nashville, just stack one of them because it's Arizona. Like Nashville's probably gonna win. We don't really know like who the closing line will be, like who will be out there with the empty net situation. But there is some good value, like if you just stack a line. So if you like Nashville, don't pick and choose. Just stack a full line, add a defenseman that you like, and I think you'll get some decent point per dollar out of those units that you create.
Okay, so why don't we look at the Arizona side quick? So Jacob Trecherin was like, I was all on board, and then his past 2 games, he has 0 shots on goal, which is weird. But his price is still going up.
Yeah,
so
that's the issue. Yeah,
I'm not that interested personally, which is really sad because I love him like more than anything. I just feel like me and him are like kind of like long lost friends because I feel like I was like the one on him first. You know what I mean? Like I really feel like I was the first guy, so I'm gonna take all the credit. We both really.
I mean,
I feel like we like him too.
Hey, he has 0 shots in his last 2 games. You can take all the credit for him right now.
I'm gonna take it. I don't even care. So that's just one note I wanted to say at the top that I was right. I feel like I haven't said that in a while about him. I feel like I haven't talked about him enough.
I thought you said I haven't said that in a while. That I was right.
Well, also that. So all right. So back to the Arizona. They only have one skater in general that is above 5,000. There's a lot of value here, and there is not a single reason why you should play them going as Nashville, being as banked up as they are. Because I mean, Johansson's going to play, but like he's probably not 110%. I mean,
Yeah.
besides Nashville's defense being like really, really good right now, kind of at full strength, do you think that there's some Arizona guys you might want to throw on in there?
I I don't think I'm gonna get too cute with these errors, like especially at the wing position. Like I simply cannot guarantee much out of any of these wingers. But I do think Derek Stepan like just continues to play a really solid role for them and continues to produce like, for a mid or I guess now he's high 4,000, but still sub 5,000. A guy who's, he's not really close to point a game, but he's on pace for a 50 something point season right now at 3 shots per game. Like, I think there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of merit to playing Stepan just as kind of like a filler, just a really reliable center at a position that's really tough to get good production on a game-to-game basis out
Yeah,
of.
I think in cash he's a really viable option. He takes all of the faceoffs pretty
Yep.
much. Like he is their main faceoff guy on top of being line one, on top of being power play one. So like at any point in the game, is he and penalty kill? Yeah, definitely their penalty kill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he is
Yeah.
their guy. Like he is their best forward. So I'm down with that. And then as a pretty big punt, I think that you could. I think on both sides of this, you can find a couple guys. But I think Christian Fischer is not the worst punt at 3-4, getting power play one, line two. I think his role is going to keep increasing a bit by bit. They kind of seem like they want to if you have a lot of young guys on a team, you want to get them minutes, all of them. And so I don't think he's ever going to hit like 20 minutes, but
Except for Duclair. They did not want to give Duclair minutes.
Yeah, well, yeah, but now he's gone. So they got Dick Panic. We could probably move on though. We don't need to beat this game to death, but I think we named all of the relatively to.
You didn't want to talk about Richard Panic?
Dick Panic? We can. I mean, sure.
Right.
I know.
I was being facetious. All right.
We got the Burns versus the McKinnons. Who do you want to talk about first? Is it just those two, and we could just move on? I mean,
yeah. I mean, the Burnses. The Burnses are doing.
It's actually Burns Eye.
Yes. The Burnsy are doing really well right now. If you continued to just jam Burns in over and over and over again until your eyes started to bleed, you're pretty happy right now.
Until your beard started to grow.
So let's just play another fun little game of WTF stats. So Brent Burns has 1 goal on 49 shots. Shooting a casual 2%. He has 10 assists. Again, 49 shots, 14 block shots, 5.5 fantasy points per game. What does this guy have to do to be above 8,000? Like, he's still even low 7,000s. I mean, if you can lock in basically an average of 5 points per night for 7,200, I think you simply have to do it. Yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to it. Like, you don't even need to like San Jose as like a team. You don't need to think that they're gonna like go nuts and score a bunch of goals because Burns does everything. Like he can be out there for a fourth line goal and pick up an assist. He can score goals himself. He can get you 10. He can get you 10 shots with blocks in the first 2 periods alone. Like you don't even need him to score. He's a ton of fun. He's such a reliable asset. So, I mean, I wanted to talk about him first, but like, are we going to be seeing Nathan MacKinnon actually take home the Hart Trophy this season?
Okay. If Colorado, is the Hart Trophy, is that one voted on before the playoffs end? Is that the one that's like they have to put their votes in before?
Yeah, I think don't all of the awards have to be in before?
I feel like there's some that aren't, but I feel like the ones that aren't like, I think like the Masterson and like whatever. It doesn't really matter.
You could be right like that, but okay.
Yeah, MacKinnon will win the Hart if they make the playoffs, and if he doesn't win the Hart, he'll probably finish in the top 3.
Because he is freaking incredible.
I remember, I swear there was a podcast like a few weeks in, and I was like, "Oh my god, I really want to play him, but he's been so bad." And I'm like, "Where are you at? Like, what are you doing?" And like he was not doing good. And then after that, he just scores every night.
Yeah, I mean, not only is he scoring, he's shooting the puck, he's putting up a ton of assists. Like, remember the lead that Kucherov and Stamkos got out to in the NHL scoring race? Like, MacKinnon has passed Stamkos in terms of overall points. Like he has more points than Stamkos. He has as many points as John Tavares in 3 fewer games. Like McKinnon is just disgusting. So
Okay,
I mean, just
he's in play.
so yeah, like we know that he's one of the best rate shooters as a center. I feel like, I mean, we've dropped the ball every time we haven't rostered him for the past 2 months. It feels like
Hmm.
so. He's really expensive, but there's a very, very strong case to playing him over the Bergerons, the Sagans, even the Stamkos and Matthews, Tavares, like we talked about. Like McKinnon is that good.
I'm fine with that take. On a few other guys from this game, I think Hurdle is definitely in play. He played power play one last game with Burns, Thornton, Pavelski, Couture. He's also on the same line with Couture. I don't hate that, but Hurdle at 5K, I think you could do a lot worse. He didn't have a shot on goal last game, and maybe his shot volumes aren't like his shot metrics aren't the absolute best, but getting that kind of a role, and I know he has been pretty decent in the past. I think he's in play. I think he could do worse at 5K. Um, and then who else did I want to mention? Is there anyone else? Comfer's back, but he's still 4K, and I don't really know what he'll do. Was there anyone else? Did you have someone?
Um, I'll
No.
be honest, I was looking for a stat about Thomas Hurdle. I saw it on Twitter. It was either like Slim Cliffy or Adam Jazduvis.
Sure.
Yeah, I think if you're on DFS Twitter, you know who that is. Jazz
I'm
Dzuski.
I know who you're
Yes.
talking about. He's like, isn't he data analytics guy? He's from
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah. Okay.
anyways, what happened? What he did is whoever it was, they posted a expected goals versus goals, like the most unlucky guys, and right above Max Pacioretty for the second least lucky or second most unlucky player this season was Thomas Hurdle. So that was just something that I noticed and was like, wow, like really? Um, but yeah, so like Hurdle hasn't been an outstanding rate guy, but his shots are coming from really, really in tight. He's on the first power play, finally. Like, remember a few months ago or a month ago, we were like, why is he not on the first power play? What's going on? He's finally
Mhm.
there. So yeah, I do agree that he's a really strong play. I like that call, Deej.
All right. Then why don't we just close this podcast out with the final game?
Yep, let's do
Pittsburgh
it.
at LA. I feel like this is a pretty much a fade for me. I'm trying to think. Oh, well, I don't. No. We talked. Okay. I don't mind the LA side of this, and I don't mind Toffoli Pearson. Those are kind of my two, even though they're back on the same line, I think,
They're on
and
the
they're both
same
on the same
power
power
play.
play. Well, I don't know. I feel like we don't know. Let me
That's
look.
true.
I
Well,
have
last game they
last
weren't,
game
but
they weren't, but there was a move. There was a big move because Gabrick ended up playing line three, and Kopitar went back with Iafallo and Brown, and Pearson went with Kempe Toffoli, I think, at the end.
oh, did he? Okay, is that
Yes, that's what I saw. But we have to wait. I would say wait till the morning. They probably run a morning skate. Check that out. That's where I'm looking. Other than that, maybe
okay?
probably it.
Um,
So
but
we
yeah,
can.
I think I agree with you. Toffoli Pearson is outstanding. Like you mentioned, they're on the first power play now with Brown, Pearson, or sorry, Brown, Kopitar, Doughty. So Brown is just like whatever. Like he's down at 5.2 now, playing 20 minutes a night. Like you could certainly get away with it. Like he's one of those guys that when he's 6,500, like that's not a
666.
it's not something you want to do. Yeah, it's just a Freudian slip on my part. Um,
Okay, that's fine. He's
but
not Nick
yeah, I mean,
Saban. He's Dustin Brown. Okay.
yes, that is
Obscure
factual.
reference that our Canadian listeners might not get.
Or most of our American ones, like me,
Fair
because I
enough.
don't really get it.
You don't get. Everyone called Nick Saban Satan after the game. Okay.
Like, oh,
Do you want
like
me to
that.
explain this or no? Are you
I
good?
I did not watch the game at all,
Okay.
so
Do,
that's
do you want the quick thing or do you just don't care?
I think we
Okay.
should do this off air.
Fair
All
enough.
right. And then Drew Doughty, I mean, he's
Yes.
mid 5K, playing basically the most minutes of anyone in the NHL. Uh,
Him and
so
Gostisbehere are both pretty much like the same in my opinion, except I think
Yeah,
there's a bit more upside tomorrow in Gostisbehere, but like they both play a very similar. I mean, Jowdy gets more minutes and is probably a better defender, but like as far as
yeah,
like DFS, like you don't get points because he made a good defensive play. So I think they're pretty similar on the other side of
right.
that, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
If you know
Um,
what I mean, why don't we get
and
to
then,
our G goals? Oh, you're not done.
well, I mean, Pittsburgh. I think it's tough to
Yeah.
play Pittsburgh guys on a back-to-back in
Yes.
this matchup. Like they're all really expensive, except for Crosby Malkin. Like they're actually probably as cheap as we'll ever see them. To be honest, like Crosby
Mhm.
below 7,000. If you're
Yeah.
looking to be contrarian, you can go with one of those two guys. But I'm certainly not that excited about it. So, all right, guaranteed goals, top stacks. Um,
We'll do two stacks first.
all right,
I'll wait. You know what? I'll let you go first. I'll let you go first.
all right. I'll take the
I know what you
Rangers
want.
first
Yep.
line.
Okay. I knew you were gonna do it.
Zibanejad.
I was gonna do it, and I felt like a jerk taking it from you because you were really in
Yeah, I
on it.
mean, it's just too much fun to see Rick Nash playing the first power play where he belongs. Buchnevich not playing on the fourth line where he certainly does not belong on the fourth line, and then Zibanejad has just been a guy that honestly, candidly, I've not gotten Zibanejad right, I think, at all this season. But we know he's one of the best shooters on this team, and he's really, really well used as well. As I said, he's second on their team in shot rate. So I really like all three of them together in a nice matchup at really strong prices.
All right. I'll do Katerier, Voracek, and Gostisbehere. I feel like we don't need to even mention the Boston one stack because I mean it's like the other one there that we mentioned a bunch. So Katerier, Voracek, Gostisbehere will be mine. It's a little bit different because Katerier and Voracek aren't on the same line, but I think that power play one is what you want to look into and hopefully get a goal through that, and then maybe each of them can get some points on their own. And if it's a close game at all, because I do think like Toronto's going to have some good scoring opportunities and can probably keep pace. Like that could be a hero 3-on-3 type of look.
Yeah,
from those three.
certainly. All right, so let's see. Other stack. I mean, do I really have to say it? Like, let's just go with Mike Hoffman and Erik Karlsson. Both are just simply
Wow.
too cheap. You can fit in a team with Burns and Karlsson like
You can
really
do it,
easily. It's like really easy. Like I'm
but you
not
can't
even.
play all that Philly and all that Boston. But if you want to try to get contrarian, because I think those two stacks will be pretty popular, then I don't mind it. You could
Yeah,
you get a touch of these. Like you could take Pasta and maybe Voracek and then punt a couple spots and
yeah.
take Olmark. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Well, with boost, you know what? You know what? I can see it actually. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So my other stack. All right, we're not done.
No, you go for it.
I was gonna say Hurdle and Burns, and if you'd like to go with Couture, maybe, or Pavelski.
Cool.
If you wanted to throw one of those two in, I wouldn't be upset. But
I
I think
sure makes the most sense given
you
their
get more
5
correlation that way. Yes, you get more correlation that way. So probably that's the move.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Why don't we do our G guaranteed goals? Matt, you can go first if you're ready at all, because I just don't want to take your guys, and if you don't take one of them, I will. So
No, I'm jamming an Ovi. Like he is my guaranteed goal. So I gotta find a low 4K, high 3K guy. But I think I can do it.
You want me to help?
No. Did you want to? Oh, I guess I'll take my second one. I want Alex Tuck.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, I thought you were gonna take someone. I was gonna try to help, but I don't need to. Then I'll go Burns Busnevich. I think that works. It's close
Ooh.
enough. It's
Yeah,
it's like just under 12, but Burns Busnevich.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna take Busnevich. I wouldn't have been mad. I knew you would have been over 12, but it would have been like right. It would have been like 12-1, I think. So I
Yeah.
would have let it the 12-2, but I would have let it slide. So I'll go Burns Busnevich. And I think we'll shut her down.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely. Oh, sorry. Go on.
when you can guarantee a guy with 7 goals on the season to get, Brent Burns, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm guaranteeing that Burns magic.
All right. Okay, cool. So thank you all for tuning in. DJ, you want to talk about the GroupMe and the Listener League, which you just so happened to take down on Tuesday night?
Yeah, so one night after a couple beers, I decided I was going to make one lineup, and I threw it in, and I did terrible. And then last night, I actually did some research, and I take it down. So I think there's definitely a correlation to the lack of alcohol and more research working. But the Listener League's a lot of fun, a lot of funny banter going back and forth in the group me. I feel like every night in the group me, like I just end up laughing a lot at different things. Like one night when Bobby Boom was like literally he's like, name any player and I will give you any number he wore in his career. And I was dying laughing because he was nailing it. I'm like, how do you know this?
Dude,
So
yes.
we have some characters. We talk a lot about different hockey news during the day, and then at night it's like jam and lineup time and a lot of tilting. If you play the wrong goalie, which is always hilarious, and then a lot of UC Saros love coming in yesterday. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I enjoy it every night, getting in on that action. And then other than that, the sim is still great. It's getting. I don't. Was it? Did Doug roll it out yet? Was it like supposed to happen?
Let's see.
I don't remember. He didn't say anything, so I can't imagine.
Yeah, no, I think they're still working on it. I
He
wouldn't.
said it'd be out in a week, and I think that was like almost 5 or 6 days ago
Yeah.
when he said a week last. So why don't we we'll give him time. We're not trying to rush you.
Why don't we all just? Well, he'll never listen to this anyways. So.
No, I know. So it's fine. So why don't we basically close it off there? Check us out on Twitter. Give us some more follows. You know what? Like I haven't said in a while, and I haven't looked at in a while. But like, can you please comment and rate this if you haven't yet? I mean, it really takes like no time, and it would really help us a lot. We do this all for free, and like we're not asking for money. We just want rates and reviews. And I know that people think like, well, what does it matter? And it's like it actually really boosts us, and it'll give us more chance to get more people listen, and then that will in turn give us an opportunity to maybe, get an advertisement on here, which I'm sure you all love.
Or we could actually do more podcasts because
and better equipment and everything would be better, and we'd be happier. So just go on iTunes or
beer
anywhere. But iTunes would probably be the easiest one. I'm sure most of you use, and then just type in Morning Skate Podcast. It's really quick. I bet you could get it all done in under a minute. And I'll still sing it live if you want. Like, let me know though. Don't just like post like we love the show, blah blah blah. And then I'm not just gonna sing anything because like that's boring. So if you want me to sing it, like try to make it rhyme or something. I don't think we've had any reviews since November 14th. That's pretty weak. So if you haven't reviewed us, give us 5 stars. If you give us less than 5 stars, I'll be really sad. So yeah. And let's get that money tomorrow. Good luck, everyone.
Right. Yeah, that was the DJ pandering hour. So, all right, let's close the show off while my cat attacks my foot because cats are such a joy. All right.
No, they're not.
From Doug, from DJ, and from myself, have a good slate, everybody, and we will see ya.